So the consensus is in. Hellblade seems like a failure, metric-wise, not just in terms of perspective. And that's sad. Like we knew it was going to be kind of bad, but I didn't realize just how fucked it would be. Once again, it's 100% expected. Absolutely expected. Just sad. Very sad. I recall seeing one article say 99% game. I'm sorry, 99% visuals, 1% game. That is damning. Another one said is a very good tech demo. And it turns out it's even shorter than fucking 6 hours or whatever. I've seen some people say they finish it in 2 hours, not really trying. That's bad for a game that's $70. Like, no game is that special to be charging $70 for an experience that's that short. There's no such thing. It feels very bad. Well, you know, once again, not that surprising. It is what it is. Sad to see. Hope Ninja Theory don't go down. Hope they don't die out. Never really know with these things. Xbox increased the price of their fucking Game Pass because Call of Duty's coming to it, and apparently that's a big deal. In particular for console players, because it seems like they increased the price like 2 times, and they have this really weird tiering system where the games are, the consoles and the PC players have completely different tracks for how the Game Pass system works. Like, for transparency's sake, I do not use Game Pass. I prefer to own my games. I don't like to rent my games. And if I can't own it, I'd rather just obtain it through other methods that are perfectly legal. Obviously. I'm not a monster. There's only like a few circumstances in which I wouldn't be able to buy my games, and that's usually companies that I boycott. I refuse to buy from those companies, naturally. That's what a boycott is, after all. Vote with your wallet. That's what all of it comes down to. Yeah, hope this doesn't hurt him too much. It's going to hurt Xbox a bit. I don't know if that was just, like, a bad move to make this game when they made this game. Or to make it that price. Like, I really think the price is the issue. Like, you can have your I'm sorry. I shouldn't insult it. You can have your little tech demo. You can have your short game. Your short narrative experience. But you have to at least make it longer. Right? Longer or cheaper. Like, you can't have both. In other news, I moved over to Linux. This is a huge fucking move for me. Right now I'm on Arch. I'm on Arch Linux. This is huge. It's a big deal. Because I've been wanting to move over to Linux for years now. And I've always had a reason why I couldn't do it. First was back then, I used Adobe and Autodesk Maya for my 3D workflow and my professional workflows. I needed those pieces of software. Mainly because there was no alternative. There was no alternative to Maya. That was good anyway. Like, Blender at the time was really... I'm not going to say it was bad, but it was not up to snuff. It was not able to do the things Maya could do. And Photoshop, even now, there's still basically no fucking competition for it. GIMP is not Photoshop. It's still pretty different. Affinity is getting there, and I'm seeing a lot of people move over to Affinity after Adobe's latest marketing schemes. I can talk about this forever, and I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to rant about this. So, story goes, Adobe, once again, have increased the price for their Creative Cloud program. This happened after Adobe CS6? That was the last version of Adobe product I used. In college, we got the full Adobe suite for free. I got CS6. And the cool thing about Adobe products back then was that once you bought it, once you had you had the license, it belonged to you. Maybe you wouldn't get the newest updates or whatever until you get the next edition, but your software will continue to work. That changed after CS6. So I was literally on the cusp of this transformation into Creative Cloud, where they decided to turn everything into a service. And that sucks. That means you now have to pay a monthly subscription to use the software. And for my job, which is a lot of it is artistic in nature, that's a death sentence. That's way too much fucking money. And so me and my friends all decided to acquire the software through other means. Perfectly legal means, of course. Because there's no way I'm paying that much money every month when I don't even use, like, 80% of the buttons that are in Photoshop. Like, that's crazy. I tried GIMP at this time. It was terrible. It was horrible. Terrible user experience. But that's to be expected with open source software. These guys are programmers. They are not artists. They are not graphic designers. You can't really expect them to have, like... I don't want to speak too bad about it, because it was a lot of effort to get here, but there's some very serious issues. And I don't think they're going to be able to remedy this for a while. Anyway, so they decided to increase their fucking price of the Creative Cloud, which was already like hundreds of dollars a year. They increased it more. And then, this is probably the final straw, where they said, by the way, we have the right to use your artwork and scan your artwork and make sure that it's not going against our terms of service or whatever. We're allowed to collect that data on you. Now, speaking from like the developer perspective, I think I understand what this is, right? Whatever you're trying to Adobe included AI tooling into their software toolkit, into their tech stack, and with AI tooling, in order for inappropriate prompts to be filtered out, you necessarily have to collect the data that's being prompted, and you have to be able to compare and contrast and say, okay, against our hashes, this is bad, do not generate that. And that's something you have to collect, even if you're going to throw it away immediately, because it would take a lot of space on the service, and that naturally wouldn't hold on to it. Even if you did that, you still have to collect it in some way. This was a big no-no, because the way they talked about it inside their terms and conditions, it made it sound like they had full access and they can do whatever the fuck they wanted with it. That's not good at all. Period. And they refused to update it. That's even worse. Because if it really was just a misunderstanding, then just update it with better terming, with better verbiage. They didn't do that. Out of nowhere came Affinity. I've never used Affinity. It looks like Photoshop, but it's not exactly Photoshop. It looks like the entire Adobe suite, if I'm being honest. It's a real competitor. It looks like it can do all the things Adobe can do. It is what it is. It's cool, I guess. I personally don't use it. If I want to use if I want to do vector shit, I use Inkscape, and if I want to do anything with drawing or patterns or stencils or any of that, I just use Krita. I have been using Krita, and I love Krita to death. Why did I start talking about this? Anyway, it's a big deal. Everything's a big deal. I moved over to Linux. This was a long time coming, but I feel like I finally reached the point where I was ready for it. There was nothing that prompted this in particular. Some people, they moved over because they can't stand Windows AI taking their data. But I've been using a custom ROM for Windows all this time. Is this good? It's better in a way. Yeah, I'll use it. Jesus, it's tier 1. Yeah, I'll use this. We all know that Windows decided to do their Copilot shit, make laptops with a Copilot button. I say this anytime I talk about AI. I will continue to say this. AI is not as useful as everyone thinks it is. It is useful, but it's not that useful. It is not so useful that it deserves its own fucking button on the laptop. But that's what they did. Their Copilot program allows them to take screenshots of your screen and store it all inside of a fucking JSON or some raw file that you can like parse through very easily with no encryption whatsoever, locally. It takes a screenshot of everything you do, every password you type, every fucking page of that doshujin that you say you're done looking at, but you're not done looking at. Every fucking frame of porn you watch, it's all there. And that is stupid. It's stupid that people wanted it. It's stupid that Microsoft thought it was a good idea. And it's a privacy nightmare, of course. But that is not why I left, because I'm on a custom ROM. I came from, like... So, I started off on Windows XP. Family computer. I think everyone did that. I went over to Windows 7 as soon as I was able to build... Well, not build, but buy my first PC. I didn't understand specs back then, so I thought that every i7 was a good i7. This is not true. But I had Windows 7, and it was very fun, it was very useful, it was okay. Alright? It was better than XP, and it felt that way. It wasn't Vista. And I heard a lot of memes about how bad Vista was, and so I tried my best not to use it. I don't have enough speed. I might die here. This isn't good. Yeah. Unfortunate. Everyone was shit talking Vista, so I didn't get Vista. I sit on X 1.7 and it was goated. I felt great. But then one day, um, years pass at this point. One day, I see a game that me and my friend were wanting to play, Forza Horizon 4. And in order to play Forza Horizon 4, they say on the front of it, sorry, you can't play this game unless you have Windows 10. Now, during this time, Microsoft had a campaign going on where they said, we will allow you to buy, I'm sorry, we will allow you to transition from Windows 7 to Windows 10 for free. Please do it. And even after this campaign ended, they still wanted you to do it for free. And all this time I was saying, fuck no, that sounds terrible. What? Like, this works just fine. Then they said, we're done doing security updates for Windows 7, and if you don't upgrade, you're gonna get a fucking virus. And I started getting all these fucking pop-ups, and I was like everything was lining up to me having to move over to Windows 10. I had no choice. If I wanted to play this game with my friends, if I wanted security updates, if I didn't want to get infected with a fucking virus, which happens a lot on Windows, not to me personally, but I've seen it too many times, I had to move to 7. It was essential I moved to 7. Also, some of my software stopped fucking working on, I'm sorry, not move to 7, move to 10. Some of my software stopped working on 7, and so everything was lining up for 10, so I moved to 10. Um, it was whatever. I skipped Windows 8 naturally, if you couldn't fucking tell. I already forgot Windows 8 happened. I was not there for that. Um, I came to Windows 10. It was whatever, dude. I didn't really notice much of a difference. All I know is I could fucking play Forza and Halo and all those games I was missing before, and I was content. It was around this time that I first learned about Linux. In particular, the year of Linux gaming, because Proton or something came out from Valve. Valve put out their Steam Deck or something around this time, and they introduced Proton. Proton was huge because all this time, Linux users had to run their games through an emulator. Yes, it is an emulator. Wine is an emulator. That's what it means. That's what it means. All right. Wine is an emulator. They had to emulate Windows. All this time, and it was okay, but it was very fucking slow. I remember on my Mac there were a few Windows programs I had to use, and I had to use this emulator called Crossover, and it was laggy as shit. It wasn't great at all. But with Valve coming in with Proton, it seemed like Linux got this huge fucking boost from a company that I don't know if I don't know what was so special about Valve in particular that took them to get this this initiative off the ground. But I think it's because Valve has sway with developers and can directly tell developers, yo, your shit needs to work on the Steam Deck, just like Nintendo can come to a developer and say, yo, your shit needs to work on the Switch. That was the kick in the ass a lot of developers needed, because otherwise working with Linux and developing for Linux, it adds like 20 fucking problems for 2% of the player base, and it's usually never worth it. I am somebody who is in agreement for this, but these days with modern engines, you can compile to any fucking environment that you want. Like if I go into Unreal Engine, I go into File, Compile As, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't use Unreal anymore. If I go there, it's going to have a list of options, and Mac and Linux are on that list. I cannot, for the life of me, understand or comprehend why it's difficult. But I don't know. That's not my part of the pipeline. It's not my job. It's not my part of my development stack. I don't do that shit. Somebody else compiles. I don't even know what compiling is. Don't ask me. Anyways, so Proton comes out. I'm seeing this shit. I'm like, yo, that's cool. That's crazy. And I pull up Manjaro on a virtual machine. First time using virtual machine. First time using Linux. First time using Manjaro. I crash it. It crashes. Something doesn't fucking work. I followed the instructions as they are on this end. Right? It's just fucking point and click. I don't understand what could have possibly gone wrong. I think it's an issue with you probably need something. Fuck. What is it called? There's a setting on graphics cards that graphics acceleration. I don't think I had that on. But by default, it's off on the emulator I was using. And so as a result, something broke. Something broke, and I didn't have a good time on Manjaro. So I put it down. I never looked at Linux until Linus from Linus Tech Tips did his Linux challenge. And I didn't really give a fuck about it. What I cared about was the fact that there was a supercut with a bunch of Linux channels, like an entire sphere of YouTube with Linux channels, all coming out of the woodwork, crawling out of the fucking woodwork, to look at Linus and say, what is this idiot doing? Did he just delete his entire fucking desktop? He did. Oh my god. It was super embarrassing for the developers of Pop! OS, I'm sure. And whoever the fuck was maintaining that Steam package. But it's it was very enlightening because I'm like I learned a lot about how Linux works and like the nature of the people who develop it and like what all this really amounts to. It was super interesting. It was very interesting, and it kind of came into my head around that time again that I started seeing this subreddit called Unix Forum. This before I left Reddit for good. I used to have a fucking account to lurk on there, but now I don't even do that. I can't be fucked. I'm sorry. Unix Forum. And I looked at all these very pretty desktops, and like on Windows 7, something I love to do is like I love to legally acquire Starduck, and I would use that thing like constantly, and like I would erase my Windows 7 like crazy. I love doing that. I love tweaking like that, and I'm finding out I'm seeing all this shit. And I'm like, yo, that's kind of what Linux is. Linux allows you to do that. Um, is this bugged? Her attack was not going off. Whatever. Um, I saw that and I was like, yo, this is so sick. I really got to get in on this. But you guys don't support Photoshop, and Adobe has said no. And you also cannot work with NVIDIA drivers. I'm on a fucking GTX 970, and I don't want to upgrade. Because I don't support NVIDIA's practices, and I vote with my fucking wallet, so I'm not going to give them fucking money. I'm not going to upgrade until I see those prices come down to something reasonable. This is a principal position I stand on. And as a result, it kind of puts me in a tough situation of, okay, well, my 970 doesn't work on Linux that well. Like, I won't be able to play games, and playing games is what I do. I make games, I play games, I love video games. It's stupid if you made too good of Linux. Well, Proton fixed that. It seemed like the right time was coming. I think the final, like, nail in the coffin was that I saw a video from a channel that I watch, Brody. I forgot his full fucking channel name. And he was talking about Wayland, a new protocol for Linux, and displays. Well, one of the pain points I had was multi-monitors, because I have 3 monitors, right? And Xorg, as I understand it, struggled with multi-monitor support. And I was told, when I asked about it, to just fuck off and wait. Well, Wayland's here, and Wayland handles it just fine. So as long as I use a Wayland compositor, or a Wayland-based desktop environment, which didn't exist, and doesn't exist as far as I know, I'll be fine. Well, I said, okay. I'm going to back up my documents, my pictures, my music onto this other drive, and a flash drive. I have 2 different backups. It's time. It's time. Let's do it. My first choice is Arch. It was Arch in the beginning, not because it was difficult. I have Arch, by the way. I didn't do it for that. I did it because I knew about the AUR, and I knew that there were certain packages that were on the AUR that I couldn't get on things like Debian. But I tried installing it with the Hyperland install, and the Hyperland install fucking failed, and I had like grub errors and shit, and I was like, bro, there's no fucking way. Like, this is the fucking easy script install shit, and like, I'm having issues, I'm having troubles. The second time I try to install it, it works. I get there, but then I start having fucking errors with the desktop environment, not like, oh no, it won't get me to the fucking actual desktop. It'll just flicker me back to the log screen over and over again. I found out this is an issue with the fact that I have an NVIDIA GPU, and so I have to do these extra fucking tweaks. And eventually I get to work that time, and now I'm in Hyperland. Right? I'm having a good time. I love the animations, love the transparency. It's my first time using a tile window manager, but I'm having a great time on it. Enjoying myself, truly. Now I'm at this point where I installed this just like it's Windows, right? I have Linux on this small 100 gigabyte SSD, and I want to have all of my files. I want to have my home directory, where all my files will be, my configs and all this shit, on a different drive. And I find these guides to do it. I repeat this process 6 times for Arch. It does not work a single time. In fact, whenever I try to do this, it breaks everything, okay? There's something about Linux and trying to run the system across multiple drives it does not like. I was this close to try running it as a fucking RAID, but I was told that's not a good idea either. You shouldn't do it. Nothing worked. I was eating shit. I was dying. That and I was just like, oh, I have to fucking do all that NVIDIA shit again. Oh, I don't want to. All right, let's just find Debian. I'm just gonna go Debian. Debian's safe. Debian's stable. Debian's okay. I get Debian. I put it on KDE because I fucking don't like GNOME, and it's questionable how the GNOME Foundation runs their shit. And so I'm a bit weary about using anything having to do with GNOME, and that's kind of where I sat for like a couple of days, right? I had like 2 days where I was stable, I was happy. Um, I decided to stop using the fucking. Wait, no, not yet. I tried doing the fucking moving my home directory again. It didn't work, but it didn't break the operating system this time, so I kind of like left it as is. I was installing all my shit, signing into all my accounts, doing my 2FA, all this shit, and I see something from an account I follow on Blue Sky, gaming on Linux, that account, and they start talking about how Nexus, the mod manager, is asking for Linux users to use their to test out their mod manager that they're making native to Linux, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy because up until now I've had to emulate Mod Organizer 2 through Proton, and it's okay, it works, but it's not great. It's not a great experience. It's not a flawless experience. I would not suggest any of my friends who are on Windows to come to Linux. It's not that good. It's not good at all. Actually, it's actually bad. But it works, and that's what was important to me. I just want to get my mods working because I mod a lot of games. Um, there's some pain points about like moving to Linux that I totally forgot about. Like, if you're going to move, you really need to move everything. Your fucking browser extensions. Like, I have this browser extension that blocks channels. I did not export any of my settings. I have a browser extension that controls gestures. I didn't export my fucking settings. I didn't export any of those fucking settings from my extensions at all, and it hurts. It hurts really fucking bad because I had to set them all up over again, and it was oof. I was pissed. There was also all the fucking save data and controller keybinds and all this shit that ends up in app data. You know, your fucking percent app data, local roaming, all those. Yeah, a lot of things go there. A lot of settings go there, and I didn't get any of them. I didn't back up any of them. I was fucked, dude. I was really fucked. I was really down bad. Anyway, um, so I move her over. I'm on Debian. The home thing didn't work. I give up. I just say, all right, let's just have this shit work for a while. I just want to be calm. I just want to chill. Um, I have another SSD that's 2 TB. I'm thinking about just not doing this home shit anymore, and I'm just gonna move everything onto the 2 TB. But I'm not there yet. And then I see this thing about the fucking Nexus app. I go to download it. I go to the fucking GitHub for it, and it says, yeah, it's available on the AUR. Huh? What do you mean? Yeah, it's available. It's available on the AUR. You can't. It's not on Debian. What? Oh, okay. I guess I can't use that yet because I don't have the fucking AUR. I'm a Debian user. I'm not an Arch user. This is not an Arch-based distro. I'm fucked. And so I kind of give up on it. I'm kind of down the dumps. I'm like, okay, well, at least I can play my video games. I installed this game right here, and I start trying to play it, and I have like 2 FPS. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it wasn't the only game. No matter what game I played, 2 FPS or worse. Sometimes it just wouldn't start up at all. And this is when I realized that Novo, the open source driver that Debian automatically installs, is not good. I've now remember, up until now, I've done like research by looking at Brody videos and shit. I know about Wayland, I know about Novo, I know about NVK, I know about the guy who once was on the Novo project and went to work for NVIDIA. And so now we kind of had an inside guy, and that's kind of cool. I know about these things. I'm aware of these things. Um, and so I was under the impression, the way people were talking about Novo, that like it was useful. Like, guys, it's come so far. Okay, okay, cool. I'll just use the open source drivers, and that's on Debian, right? All right, I'll use that. They're dog shit. They're terrible. They're absolutely ass. They don't fucking work. And anyone who has ever tried to fucking gas this up as anything more than being like progress, a technical progress, they should be taken out back. I'm sorry. Let me not say that. Let me not say that. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? This is an issue because on Debian, getting proprietary drivers working, it was borderline impossible. Okay, it was almost fucking impossible. You do not know the amount of pain I went through to get proprietary NVIDIA drivers and DKMS, that fucking package DKMS, working on Debian. You will not believe the amount of shit I had to deal with. It got so bad that I was like, okay. No, I think the major issue was Debian's packages. They just didn't have the NVIDIA package at all, and they didn't have DKMS. It was taken down from the fucking repo or something. Like, it didn't exist. I couldn't fucking install it. I was screaming, dude. I was losing my mind. Like, what were they thinking? And then I understood at some point, like, oh, this is the Debian way. They're always going to be like a year late. They're never going to have this shit until like a year later. I'm going to have to wait a full fucking year before the shit that's relevant to me becomes available. That's not good. Because all the shit that's happening right now on Proton and fucking open source drivers and all this, all the graphics drivers on Wayland, all of this shit is happening leading edge. This shit is not stable, I guess. Who'd find stable? I don't know. Like, it seems to work on everyone else's system. It seems stable to me. And look what I'm doing right now. This seems kind of stable now. Anyway, it's not the Debian way. I misunderstood the Debian way. The Debian way is to not get it yet. The Debian way is to be last in line, to be the last horse in the race. And unless I want to be suffering like that, I need to move off Debian. And that's what the fuck I did. I left Debian. I went to Garuda because it was a gaming distro. That's what they said. It's a gaming distro, and it has Hyperland. So I got the Hyperland version of the gaming distro. Guys, can we be so real? Can we be so honest right now? Have any of you ever bought something that said gamer? Have you ever bought like a gamer chair? Have you ever bought like gamer headphones? How about a gamer mouse? Have you bought any gamer paraphernalia? Okay. You do not understand the whiplash. You don't understand how much I puked in my own mouth. I was disgusted. I installed Garuda. I wanted to do terrible things to myself. Okay. I wanted to rip my skin off. Like, it felt like I was wearing my skin inside out, the way that Garuda looks. Garuda is terrible. I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. I cannot believe that's a real distro. If you couldn't tell, Garuda is the gamer, RGB, hardcore, Dragon X, Libre Wolf gamer distro. I almost went blind looking at that shit. It comes pre-installed with so much shit, so much bloated nonsense that I will never use in my entire fucking life. And then it has the gall to have its own custom software that it comes pre-installed with. Dog, this is the last time I installed on the fucking 100GB SSD, and it is still there. All right, I left it. I abandoned that fucking SSD and I moved over to the fucking 2TB. I left Garuda behind. Alright, I used Garuda to flash another fucking SD card, so I can move over to... What the fuck did I try after this? I think I went to Arch here. Yeah, that's where I went to Arch. It was a disaster. Garuda was a fucking disaster. I hated every second of it. I am going to fucking die. I just don't have the speed. I don't have the speed, bro. I need the speed, bro. I'm doing this so I can get that fucking achievement, but I need the pet dragon. When I get the pet dragon, I need to be where the fuck that is. 35. Jeez, level 35 is a lot. I'll go back to this. Anyway, Garuda made me cringe out of my mind, and I went back to Arch. And then I had like a series, like a fucking multi-episode showdown, a weekend showdown. Me, Hyperland, and the fucking grub issue that I was having. I still don't know what the fucking grub issue was. The amount of times I formatted this fucking 2TB SSD, I was scared that it was going to stop working because I fucking formatted it so many times, okay? The amount of times I've restarted this install, the amount of times it's interrupted halfway, the amount of times the fucking Hyperland fucked up after I got to the final fucking, as soon as I get to the finishing line, Hyperland gives me shit, it starts giving me issues. Like, I had so much trouble. I stopped using Hyperland for a while. I went over to fucking GNOME. I went over to KDE again. I tried fucking making things kind of like how I like them on Hyperland. I tried racing. It was not fun. I need Wayland. It has to be Wayland, right? It has to be. Because this multi-monitor setup shit did not work on Xorg. I had the option. I tried it. My left monitor, even now, it still hasn't recovered. It's still at a resolution that's lower than what it should be as. I do X Randor, I get shit on. It's terrible. I never should have went to X11. I should have stayed Wayland for life. Okay? And I am now ride or die Wayland. I will not go back to X11. Eat shit. Wayland's fine. It works. I'm just waiting for, like, I don't know, a fucking official NVIDIA update so they fix this monitor issue, because my left monitor being a lower resolution than everything else is really fucked. Anyway, um, I I do all this shit. I reinstall, I install, I switch distros, everything I fucking can, and then one time I get lucky, and I have no idea what the fuck I did. And I think this is how, I think this is like a type of baptism, right? A lot of users go through this where, like, I have no clue how the fuck I fixed that, but it's working now. I'm not going to question it. That's why I'm on right now. Okay, I fixed Hyperland. It works. It doesn't lag. There's no fucking problems. I set everything up. I have my fucking launcher up and running. Everything is okay. The only thing I'm missing right now is a way to switch my fucking profile picture on the SDDM screen, but otherwise, like, I've everything else here is my fucking polybar, my OBS working, obviously. It has been working ever since I put out that fucking video about quest design. Like, everything is fine. I don't know what I did, but it works. And I am content. Years ago, I moved over to Krita from Photoshop because Photoshop was doing bad shit, and I was tired of trying to update my torrents and my fucking my legally acquired copy of Photoshop. It was obnoxious to update all the time. And on top of that, it was slow to start. Like, one of my RAM sticks broke, and I went down to like 12 gigabytes of RAM. I don't want to use like 20 seconds to launch Photoshop every time I fucking do it. Also, back then I didn't have like another SSD. Photoshop was on my SSD. I'm sorry, my HDD. So that was a big deal, I guess. Yeah, it was just very bloated. It was very slow. Like, I didn't use 80% of its fucking functions, and I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I was like, well, since I moved to Krita, and I left Photoshop, then I might as well leave Maya as well. No more Autodesk. Once again, because I didn't want to keep fucking updating it, and it was slow to launch. Unlike Blender, which was very fast to launch. Don't get me wrong, Blender's kind of fucking bloated. And now I do most of my modeling in Blockbench. Because for my style, Blockbench does everything just fine, really. Like, I'm not over here making The Last of Us or anything, so Blockbench is perfect. But yeah, I've minimized a lot of the fucking issues that I've had. All the software that I was missing, I found again, except for Play Night. That is something very painful here on Linux. Lutris is ugly as sin, and it's not exactly great at fetching, like, unknown media. Its options are also not labeled very well. Like, in order to install a game from GOG that I legally acquired, I have to... no, I'm sorry. To install the DLC for a game on GOG that I legally acquired, I have to do this weird fucking option on the bottom where I have to click the game, and then I have to hit this arrow, and then I have to say install an exe as a wine prefix. It's a bunch of nonsense. There's nothing that says install DLC. It's the user experience is not great. It is not the best game launcher I've ever seen. I tried Heroic. Heroic was missing a lot of features that Lutris has. I missed Play Night. Play Night was my launcher of choice back then. I had it customized. I had themes. It was very good. It was very fun. I have nothing like that for Lutris. I hope I'm going to be able to find that soon. If not find it, then I'll be able to create it. But as of right now, that's not the case. I don't know. It's not great. Not everything is equivalent to Windows. The year of the Linux desktop is nowhere near here. Absolutely fucking not. But the shit works. It does work. You can make it work. And for my purposes, which are gaming, graphic design, soon to be machine learning, I hope, I pray, I hope that the Wine emulator will be enough for my purposes. Only thing you can hate now about fucking Linux is, like, its elitist community. I don't really talk to these guys. I don't really enjoy talking to these guys. I said this before, but programmers are some of the most insufferable people I've ever met in my life. Whenever the fuck you ask a question in the Linux community, it's like, why do you want to do that? Why the fuck do you... Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about it, okay? It's bad. It's really bad. I don't like talking to these people. I don't enjoy interacting with them. I'd rather just get along with my life. I don't even like telling people I fucking use Linux because those same types that pop up out of fucking nowhere, out of the woodwork. Just nasty, nasty people. And that's what the fuck I'm doing now. On the plus side, I was using, so I have a Wacom tablet, and I moved over to Linux, and I tried plugging that shit in with, my typical drivers, which is, an open source driver called OpenDriver WL or whatever. On Windows, because I'm using a custom ROM, there's certain things I had to turn the fuck off in order for me to get the custom ROM to work the way it's intended to work. I was using Ghost Spectre as my custom ROM, by the way. Um, and the issue with that driver is that they won't let you use things like pen sensitivity unless you're not an admin. That is the most retarded shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry, pardon my language. That is the most retarded shit I've ever heard in my life. I'm an admin. This is my computer. I should be allowed to do anything I want. The fact that they didn't let me run that as a fucking admin, it pissed me off a lot, okay? I was really considering switching over to something proprietary because that shit pissed me off so much. But on Linux, because they enforce this pseudo nonsense, I disabled the password anyway, so it doesn't matter. But since they enforce this pseudo nonsense, I actually can use the pen pressure on the driver, and I've been having, it's okay. I'm happy to have it. Happy that it's here. And I'm probably still going to switch to some fucking proprietary driver because I don't like the fact they put me through that. It's the principle of it. It's not really the function. It's the principle. That pisses me off. I don't like being yanked around by the fucking chain. I kind of like glazed over that, didn't I? The fucking pseudo thing. So like a sin in the Linux community is to run everything as root. To be clear, I do not run as root. I am on my own user who can use sudo. The thing is, I remove the fucking password. So I do sudo anything. There's no password for me to use. In order for me to log in as root, there's still a password for what it's worth. But I definitely broke a cardinal sin of Linux, and I think it's honestly an outdated cardinal sin. If I get a virus, if I'm fucking infiltrated, um, it's over. I give up. All right, that was my hubris. They got to me. It is what it is, bro. I can't be fucked. I think the issue with sudo and all this is that its purpose is to stop people from doing bad things, right? It's to stop you from doing something stupid with your system. But in order for you to do pretty much anything, when it comes to installing packages anyway, you need sudo. Anything in the terminal that I do, I pretty much always need sudo. There's very few things that I don't use sudo for. If it's in the home directory, it's fine. But I had to install like 150 different packages just to get my shit back to like operating conditions what I had in Windows. You know how many times I had to put in sudo? For like 80% of the fucking commands. Imagine having to put in the password that many times. It's a pain in the ass. I think that sudo is good for like network administrators and people who have to like monitor entire servers, and maybe they have a family of 8 and they're the Christian fundamentalist home. But for everybody else, it's fucking normal, and it's your computer. I don't need sudo to block me and tell me that I can't fucking do this. If I want to fucking delete System32 on Windows, they say, "Are you sure?" And then I say yes, and it's gone. On Windows, if something doesn't fucking work, you can run it as an admin, and it fucking works. I think that's kind of the main issue. The main issue is sudo works. If it didn't work, I would stop using it. But guess what? When something doesn't work, and then I put in fucking sudo and it works, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, yeah, there you go. I guess I'm just going to keep sudoing. Sudo is just outdated Unix design, in my opinion, but I'm not going to fight on that. I'm not going to try to change anybody's mind, because I think the Linux community is very uptight about sudo. They're very sudo-esque. They really love sudo. It makes no sense to me as a Windows user who uses an administrator account and runs an admin, and I do not have the Unix mindset, and I probably never will. It's always going to seem dumb to me. But, hey, it is what it is. I got that shit working. That's what's important. I have that shit working. I'm not stressed. I don't have to put in my password 20 times a day. When I do a fucking system update, yeah, it's easy, simple, no problems. Oh, you should really think twice about what packages you can install. I'm sorry, dude. Do you fucking know what package? What is it? What is this? I have an update. XGG Desktop Portal Hyperland 1.3.2.1. Do you know the difference between that version and the previous version? I'm sorry. Can you read the fucking code? I can't. How the fuck am I supposed to be like, oh, I have to be so careful about what packages I fucking update and install. I can't even read half the fucking code that gets on this system. These fucking programs are using dependencies from packages that I cannot read the language of. How the fuck am I supposed to know what the fuck a lib... I can't read any pipewire. What does pipewire do? What is all these... There's like 30 different packages that are connected to the pipewire. I have to read through all of them? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's stupid. It's very dumb. I'm not into it. It's not my thing. I'm just going to disable the password, which I already have disabled the password. I'm going to let it rock. And it has been rocking, and it has been working. It is fine. And if I get hacked, it's too fucking bad. I should have been more careful. As of right now, I'm very happy. Is it Windows? Absolutely fucking not. Will it be Windows one day? Maybe. It's possible. There are pain points everywhere. A lot of it's kind of locked up into the mindset of the people who develop this software. Like, they're, once again, with the GIMP thing I was pointing out, they are not graphic designers, and it is obvious. It is very obvious. A lot of these people are not graphic designers. A lot of this stuff is very clunky. Its implementation is kind of reliant on previous paradigms, previous ways of thinking in programming terms. Like Vim, for example. Vim is pervasive in file management. It's like Vim key bindings. Like everything is Vim key, but like, do we have to? I can't use Control V in the terminal. I have to use Control Shift V. I guess that was the thing on Windows as well. But like, these things should be unified, you know? Whatever. Once again, I'm not here to change minds. If you're on Windows, I do not suggest coming to Linux. And if you are going to come to Linux, I hope you like GNOME. Do not do this shit, this crazy shit I did, where I was trying to move my drives. Don't do that. All right. Find a fucking and don't do this shit. Don't follow me to Hyperland. Don't use this shit. Okay. If you're going to write something, write a fucking i3 or something. Go to fucking i3 is not Wayland. Yikes. You have multi-monitors? Okay, if you have multi-monitors, KDE or GNOME, don't bother with anything else. Alright? Don't bother with Hyperland. Don't do this crazy shit I had to deal with. This pain in the ass, this shit I had to spend a weekend working with. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I promise you it isn't. Get the proprietary drivers you have in NVIDIA. Novo, no matter how many times people try to say it is not ready. It is not ready for prime time. It gets 4 FPS on this game that I'm playing right here. Death must die. It is not ready. Don't bother. And if you're on AMD, it's flawless from what I understand. I'm moving to AMD because I don't support NVIDIA's business practices. But that's going to be in the future because AMD are also being absurd with their pricing. And I don't want to support that type of business. So it is what it is, bro. I've been looking at doing like a breakdown of Minecraft. I think that'd be kind of fun. I was watching a lot of like Minecraft critiques and stuff, and they're constantly like dealing with the issues of Minecraft and how it's built and how to fix it. Right? What would Minecraft 2 look like, or what does Mojang have to do to fix Minecraft, and how Mojang were so fucking lazy. They are lazy. Let's be honest here. Anyone who's like, I'm not a developer, Mojang are really working really hard, and they have to port this game to 2 different platforms. They have the money to have multiple teams. Okay, I'm so fucking sorry. I hate to be the one to break it to you. They are lazy. It is lazy. Well, no, it's not lazy. It's indecisive. They have terrible leadership at Mojang. You can see it. It leaks into everything they fucking do. That B update, terrible leadership. What the fuck were they thinking? Who was the leadership? Who was the fucking creative visionary that's working at Mojang now? Like, they are directionless, and that is a weakness of whenever you have like one figurehead notch leave. All these things kind of fall into place like that. And now Minecraft is dealing with this identity issue where it has extrinsic motivations, intrinsic motivations, and they have never been balanced. And even now they still struggle to find balance. And so it's kind of it's a sucky implementation. Everything's sucky. It's all that. But I was watching these fucking videos, and I was like, yeah, it would be kind of curious if we broke down everything that was in Minecraft and like how you could fix it. Or maybe not fix it, but like a reinterpretation. Like minecarts, for example. Minecarts are absolutely fucking useless, right? I thought it'd be kind of cool to like look through all the blocks in Minecraft and like give them different usage. I think a paradigm that I enjoy in game design, that I do a lot, is I believe that every concept, everything, needs to have at least 3 uses. There should never be anything in any game that only has 1 use. Think about dye, right? Dye and wool. Wool has the usage for crafting in beds and colored wool. I'm sorry, is that right? Item frames? It has multiple uses, but it doesn't feel like it does it. it kind of feels like crafting, color. Those are the uses. It feels like there's really nothing else. That's not good. As with the dye, with the colors, like lapis and shit, like lapis used for enchanting. Dyes are dyes are just dyes. Like there's nothing but cosmetic. It's like it's about what this thing that I was talking about, this intrinsic motivation, this lack of balance between them. I don't think that they should have to balance. I think that there's probably something to be said about being able to meld intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. They should work off of one another. I think Minecraft's a unique game in that way. I'm still trying to work out like how the fuck this would be done. Right now, I'm leaning towards a keyword system. So let's say we have the word gold. What does gold come up in your mind with? Like what appears in your mind when you hear the word gold? Well, in terms of Minecraft, I hear enchantability, I hear magic, I hear fragile, I hear soft, um, I hear luxurious, right? These are keywords, and with these keywords, you can define usages, right? So if it's enchantable, if it's soft, that means it's modifiable, right? Something that comes to mind immediately is like, what if we put amethyst into gold? What if we started blinging out our gold armor with various gemstones, like emeralds and diamonds and shit? What would that do? How would that augment the gold? Well, what are the traits we have for amethyst? What we use it as? We use it as a crystal. So it's for farsight. It grows, so it's a growing crystal. It's a growing shiny thing, shiny rock. Um, like I'm doing this for pretty much fucking everything. The main reason I started thinking about this because I saw a video from Simply Sark about the differences between copper and redstone. Because copper in every mod pack has been about like electricity, but redstone is electricity. We can't have two electricity. That doesn't make any sense. But what if redstone was still electricity, like logics and all that, but copper was lightning, like the element lightning, and it makes sense for the lightning rods. And you could also relate it to age. These are keywords for copper. With these keywords, well, Sark didn't use keywords. He just had a really good idea. I'm using the keyword system. But Sark said, what if we made copper armor that got enchanted by using lightning to strike it? And with this lightning, enchanted armor, you could be able to like run fast. You can jump higher. Like it's basically a type of enchanted armor, and it's enhanced in the world. There's something about that. There's something about the world and using the world around you to do things instead of binding everything to a fucking crafting grid like an enchanting table or a smithing table. There's something about that. There's something about throwing an item on the ground, putting down a fucking lightning rod, and watching lightning strike it for something else to happen. I don't know. I still have to work through this. My idea on this is very nascent right now. But I think this keyword system that I'm coming up with, I think there's potential there. Anyway, so in my keyword system, copper would be more like, instead of electricity, just alone. We could also do motion, right? With pumpkin, you would have animancy, so like golem making. And that would explain why we get like snow and snow golems and iron golems that protect villages. With copper, we can make railroads and I don't know, dude. There's a lot of stuff to like work through. It seems like a very interesting like game design exercise, and I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to rant for a bit. I'm fucking off to do other stuff, like play Caves of Cut. That's just exciting. Ooh, it's very exciting.